to just have all the scores that would enable you have a distinction in this program. Usually, I tell students that we have paid so much for this training, and we have committed a lot. Having to combine the training with work, personal activities, and I think it's a lot for us to be able to work towards achieving a distinction in this course. And for you to be able to do that, there are guidelines, there are steps that you need to follow through to make this work through for us. This project docket is available for us on the LMS portal. You can always go to the LMS portal to download a copy. Some of us in this class already have commenced work on the project topic already, but for some of us who have not commenced, I think this session is just going to give us more insights, clarifications in areas we might be needing clarifications on. So again, for the FM Mastercraft project, the project consists of 6 project topics, which are core, I call it core areas for facility managers. One which includes the asset register. You all agree with me that in the course of this training, we've gone through the asset management module, which analyzed for us or gave us the insight on how to properly document our assets and how we can even generate our own asset register. Again, this project topic is also one of the assessments the institute can use in rating your participation in the course of this training. If you had said, oh, I learned asset management in the course of this training, how well can you implement asset management? How well have you been able to assimilate and can implement on what you have learned? So again, we are going to be testing you on all of these key areas in the course of the project work. So for the asset register, it's actually pretty straightforward because you have a template here already. Please a minute. Please give me a minute. Sorry.
We can't hear you again.
She asked for a minute. I'm sure she'll be back soon.
Okay, thank you. Am I back in? Can you all hear me, please? Can you confirm?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for the asset register, which is the very first project topic you need to carry out in the course of this course. For the asset register, you all agree with me that this is a document that would give facility managers the insight about the asset they're managing. We have realized that in most organizations or in most facility management companies today, some facility managers do not even work with asset register. They are called facility managers just because they have the experience, but they do not have the proper documentation in place. So the difference we are going to be making for everyone that have gone through this training is for them to be able to generate an asset register. Again, I need to let you know that for all of these 6 project topics you'll be working with, you'll be carrying it out as a live project. And usually we recommend that students use their site or their organization as a case study. So if, for instance, you're working already as a facility manager, we encourage that you use your building as a case study for the project. Reason being that we realize that even some of these companies do not have some of this documentation in place. And if you that have enrolled for this training can at the end of the day work on a key 6 project topic and document for your organization, you need to know that you have added value to your own organization, your own little way. The difference we need every facility manager or every individual that have gone through this course is that you need to be able to add value to your own organization. And so by you completing this program, I already believe that some of the things we've learned in the course of this training, we're already implementing in our respective place of work. However, this project is also an additional value you can put in place in your own organization. So for the asset register, it's pretty straightforward, provided that you work with these templates. So each of the project topics already have templates there in the docket for you so that you can work with. All you need to do is, just copy this out into an Excel sheet and, fill in the required information as required. For facility managers, asset register is a very key important documentation we need to work with. You cannot be a facility manager without having an asset register in place. How then do you know the assets under your purview? How then do you track the assets within your care? So for facility managers, we encourage that you work with all of this documentation, and that's the difference you'll be making after you must have completed this program. So for the asset register, the headers have been outlined for you. If in case you have additional headers you might want to add for each of your assets, please, you can always go ahead to do that. So quickly to take you through the headers I have on the asset register template, the building name. So if, for instance, we are working with a company A, okay, you need to, this document is saying that you put your date, put the site name. So if it's company A or whatever name of the company, you put it here. Then the FM name, the facility manager's name should also be documented. So what building are we talking about? For instance, in very large organizations, they have different buildings. So if, for instance, they're talking about the administrative building, there's need for facility managers to be able to track all of the assets in each building within the organization, within the facility. So for instance, if you are working in an organization where there are different buildings or buildings with different names, you need to properly document each of the assets you have in each of these buildings. So if, for instance, I'm taking an administrative building, for example, that's the name of the building in the organization. Okay, I name it administrative building. So even within the administrative building, how many floors do we have? Sometimes we might have like 4 floors, 5 floors. There is need for you to be able to track and monitor each of these assets within each of these floors within that building. So if, for instance, you have floor 1, floor 2, or whatever the case might be in your situation, you need to document it in this sheet. For the space actually means the room. So when we talk about floor, there are several rooms that will be within the floor. So you also need to name the space. Usually some people use room 101, 102, or they use MD's office, or excuse me, HR's office. So there's also need for you to document all of these assets within each of this floor. So the asset name, if for instance, we're talking about AC, air conditioning, put it there, asset description, what kind of asset, is it a split unit, is it a Windows unit, HVAC, you need to also describe what asset you're talking about. Then the model, you need to also document the model, the serial number as well. All of these can be found within the manual of the assets. But for the internal reference number, this is specific to each organization. So for each organization, they have their internal referencing number. So you need to also get this and be able to document it for each of these assets. Manufacturer, warranty date, in and out of service. In and out of service means, is this asset in use or out of service? You need to be able to document assets that are in use or not in use. Usually students will ask that when you talk about assets, what are you trying to, trying to tell us to document? So for you as a facility manager, whatever scope, whatever asset is within your own scope as a facility manager is what you're expected to cover in this asset register. Then the purchase dates, purchase costs, install date or commissioning dates, and the likes. Also, the maintenance strategy. You also agree with me that in the course of this training, you've also learned the various strategies we have in maintaining our assets. So it's very important that you are able to allocate properly to your assets the right maintenance strategy. So you can populate these sheets. I think Excel sheet is usually the best format for you to populate your asset register. And after that, I think usually I tell students to populate the sheet with enough information, because when they say it's project, we ask students giving 5-line items, 6-line items. That means you're not doing a diligent work. Usually, I'll tell students that project is something that can earn you like a close 90 marks if you do what is required of you, provided that you follow this template. And again, like I said, that we always encourage that students have the mindset of a distinction because of this program. It's just that you follow through the criteria that have been specified for you. So that's that for asset register. I don't know if you have any question before we move to the project 2 topic. Okay, if there's no question, I'll move to project 2.
Sorry,
I have a question. I have a question.
Someone's speaking. Please, you can signify if you have a question. You can just signify so that I call you. Mr. Adeleke, do you have a question? Okay, Mr. Franklin. Okay, over to you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, Ms. Doraka. I noticed you didn't talk about thank you for the walkthrough. I noticed you didn't talk about is it asset value or replacement value? Please, can you take us back to that? You didn't talk about a few row there.
Okay, so like I said that this list is not exhaustive. You can always even add more information that are not on this header already. But for every
So
asset,
the information is even on
sir?
Okay, go ahead. The information
So I
is
didn't
even
get
on
that.
that list, but you didn't talk about it. First,
Okay,
information is even on that list, this list that you're, but you didn't talk about it. Is it that we can't
sorry about
calculate
that.
the residual value?
Okay, so for each of your assets, ensure that you follow through with the headers that have been outlined here, and document with the appropriate information. Mr. Franklin said, okay, for the install date or commissioning date, for example, okay, the purchase date, the purchase cost. If you have all of this information, ensure you fill it in as required. For the install date or commissioning date, if you have the information, the documents, for the estimated useful life of your assets, and also work with that and document. Replacement due dates. What's the next date for you to replace that asset after you must have estimated the useful life of that particular asset? Then the replacement cost, time of you documenting it. What's the cost of you replacing that asset? You need to also document all of this. Again, if you have any other information, additional information you might want to add pertaining to any assets, please feel free to include that in your headers, as that would also even fetch you more marks. I think that's clear,
Hello.
Mr. Franklin.
Yes, thank you,
Mr. Franklin, is that clear?
Yes, it is. Thank you. I'm grateful.
So sorry, excuse me. This is Mr. Godwin. What if the purchase date, that information is not available? Could we just put the contract new, right?
So I didn't get that.
I said, what if the purchase date for the asset is not available and all those things? We just put
we encourage that you do the diligent work to make findings of all this, but in case where you cannot get the information, it's required that you give them blank. But when we say because I cannot get the information, then we see students submitting blank asset register. It means you are not doing what's required of you. So ensure you put in the required effort to get in as many information as possible for the asset register. Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Bello. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Bello, you can go ahead.
I say for the date, if I cannot get the actual date, can I just use any date?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. But usually we recommend that you try as much as possible to find the actual information. Try as much, you source for it. That's why it's a project. But in cases where you say you don't have the right information, you want to put an actual rough, okay, it's fine. So just to see that you know what you are doing. But usually we would not like that, okay, because I cannot get a particular information, then I'm submitting a blank asset trade. I hope you understand. So just do what's required in terms of acquiring all of the information you need to populate the asset register. Is that fine?
So, sorry, my question is, I want to ask, how do we get this? Are you going to send it to or?
Okay, it's on the portal already. This particular project docket is on the portal. So just scroll on the course overview page and locate where you have the FM project topic and detail. The docket, you see, you can just download and work with. Okay, Mr. Godwin.
on the elder where maintenance strategy, I think if I'm correct, the maintenance strategy is about duration, I mean the interval at which you carry out maintenance on the machine.
The maintenance strategy, in the course of this training, you would have gone through the various strategies we have in maintenance, which includes the preventive maintenance.
Preventive and reactive maintenance.
Yes, run to failure, the likes. Yes, so you should be able to allocate accordingly
all right,
to each of your
thank
assets.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Mr. Frank, can go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you clearly.
All right. I just want to start from the beginning. Like,
sorry, I can't hear you, Mr. Frank. It seems
I said
like
the building name.
Okay.
Let's say it's an admin.
Okay.
And inside the admin, I have receptionist, I have account, and I have an MD office.
Okay.
Okay. Will I say, okay, receptionist? Then I'll name all the items in reception. Then account separately, that's the same building name, admin.
Yes, provided that there are individual buildings within that facility. I hope you understand.
So just one building now containing.
So if it's a single building, then it means you have just one building. Then where you need to specify is maybe in terms of floor, because I would expect that maybe your reception is on the ground floor. Then maybe the administrative rooms are just maybe on the first floor, second floor. There may be management office on the third floor. That's what I expect. Or is it same as what I'm saying?
And what if it's just on the same floor?
Okay, so if it's on the same floor, then that means you have just a single floor, right? Then
yes.
What would distinguish here is going to be the space. The space will now say, okay, this is the reception, this is the MD's office, this is the admin's office, FM's office, and the like. So it's in terms of space that you need to distinguish the rooms you are documenting the asset. Do you get that? So if it's only a single floor, okay. Okay, Mr. Adeni, you can go ahead with your question. Mr. Adeni.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good evening,
good afternoon, class. Please, it's like I'm going to drag the class back a bit. I came on not quite long now. I want to know, it seems this is a project for us, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I just had.
Okay, so I'll just want to emphasize on that again.
Template, and I have to work on this individually.
Have you worked on it before?
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Adeni?
No, not at all.
Okay, so before, maybe because you joined late, let me just recap.
I said I've not worked on it.
Okay, no problem. Let me just recap again for those
before, not at all.
For those who joined late, let me recap on what we've said so far.
Okay, thank you.
Can anyone hear me? Since
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so like I said earlier that as part of the criteria for all participants in the course of this training, they need to carry out a 6 project topic that are pertaining to the FM Mastercraft and Diploma course. The FM project topics are core criteria for anyone who wish to earn the FMD credential. And this is also another way the institute would assess students that have gone through the program and can implement on all what they've learned in the course of this training. So like I said earlier, that in the course of this training, you all agree with me that we had the course on asset management that gave us insight about how to document our assets, asset disposal, and the likes. So we have realized that for facility managers, there are key documents you need to work with before you can be called proficient in this field. If you look around us today, we realize that some people are being called facility managers because they have the experience, but they do not have proper documentation in place. But the difference we are going to be making for everyone that goes through this program is that they'll be able to carry out a 6 project topic individually on their own, and be able to document. Usually, we want that when students do these projects, you are able to submit the same report back to your own organization. This is another key way you can add value to your organization. There are some organizations right now that do not even have an asset register in place. So if you as an individual or as an employee can carry out all these 6 project topics diligently at no cost for your organization, trust me, you will be able to earn that accomplishment. We've had feedback from students after completing this project that they got commendations from their bosses and the likes after giving this value back to the organization. So that's why we are here, Mr. Denny, is to give you more clarifications on how to go about the project. Okay, so we've actually treated the asset register, and you need to just work with the templates we have here. That's fine. Okay, you're welcome. Mr. Luko, your hand is up.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, yeah. My question is that, can we do it in ongoing projects, like an estate that is ongoing?
Okay, for an estate that is ongoing, that's not fully into use, we want that whatever facility you are using is a live facility. Now you can call, okay, this is a full and operational, yes, let me use the word full and operational facility. So if it's under construction, it's not stable for you to use. It has to be a full functioning and operational facility. Did you get that, Mr. Aduko?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes.
Mrs. Adelba, please can take the mic now.
Good evening. Well done,
Yeah,
Barakat.
Thank you.
Please, I want to ask, so this project, please, are we going to be assigned project supervisor, and also what's the duration of these 6 projects?
Okay, so that will also be highlighted as well. But let me take it now that you asked. For the project, for the 6 project topics, the maximum duration is 6 months. It's 6 months duration. So that is, if you can dedicate 1 month for each project topic, we expect that at the end of 6 months, you should have completed all 6 projects. But even as I speak to you, there are some members in your class that have already started work on this project and already submitting as required. But usually we understand that you have workload and other things, so we give you maximum of 6 duration. Because the graduation ceremony comes up in December, and so for you to be able to confirm your eligibility ahead of time, even if you cannot finish with, some people will finish the project within 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, but maximum 6 months. So 6 months from now is around October. So if you want to be graduating in December, we expect that latest October 30th, you should have submitted your project so that you can get your confirmation ahead of time. Okay. So for project supervisors, the Max-Migold faculty members are always available if you need clarification. But for people who are already practicing facility management already, we tell them that you need to just work with the templates that we have provided for you. But for people who are new into FM entirely, what we do is we work to put them in a team where they can carry out the project. Or for people who are unemployed and are willing to start a career in facilities management, we place them in an internship program where they can, get the required hands-on skills in facilities management. That's for people who are new. So during this internship, they will carry out the 6 project topics. But for somebody who is already working as a facility manager in your own organization, so all you need to do is just make use of the templates we have specified for you and carry it out on your own facility where you're working. This is another way you can add value to your organization. So, but we've had cases whereby somebody will say, I'm managing a very large portfolio. However, I would not mind if any of my class members can join me on this project. We usually have collaborations like that. So if you have any large portfolio you're managing and you feel you might not be able to cover up within these 6 months, please feel free to indicate. I'm sure some of the class members will be willing to work on you with regarding this. I hope that's clear. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, Mrs. Nkechi, I send to you.
Hello, Baraka. I want to quickly find out, is there a word limit? And for each project topic, do we need to hand them in individually as with, when you're done, you hand it in, or you wait to complete all 6 of them before you turn them in? Thanks.
Okay, so for the submission, we encourage that once you're done with a particular project topic, you turn it in. But for some people, they say, oh, I want to hold on to all before I submit, so it's fine. But usually we encourage that as you complete one, ensure you submit,
Okay, is there a word
count? What do you say?
Is there a word limit? Is there a word count per each topic?
No word limit. Just that you need to follow through. No word limit. Just that you follow through the specifications for each of these project topics. There are requirements for it. So as we go on in the course of this session, you also see places where you need to follow through the format required for each of these project. Asset register is just a simple Excel sheet that you need to work with. But for others, you will have a particular project topic where you need to work with an Excel sheet and also in Microsoft Word, because you need to give a general executive summary of what you've done. You need to be able to give recommendations, you need to be able to give observations, findings, all these findings and the like. So that would come in a Word format, in the MS Word format. While whatever sheets or cells you're working with will come in Excel. And all of this, you will see it as we progress in this session.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, Ms. Damilola Inaki, and take over the
now. Good evening, everyone. So my question is, for each project topic, are we supposed to give a report of 6 months or just 1 month report for each of them? I don't know if you stated it from the beginning.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
For each project topic, are we supposed to give a 6 month report? Like now for the asset register, are we supposed to, for example, monitor our assets for 6 months, or it's just 1 month for each topic? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Hello?
But for the sake of those who have gone through this program, we are giving you this template so that you can improve on whatever templates you have already, or be able to update whatever information you have. So if, for instance, you work in just in an administrative building or whatever building you work with, what you need to do is just document all of the assets within that space, as we have discussed earlier. So whatever you have on ground is what you should just take at that point in time, at that point of view, documenting it. So if, for instance, you're doing the project starting from today, whatever you have, if it is the AC you have in line is what you should document. Is it the generator, whatever system you have in place is all you should document as required in this format. I hope that's clear. Okay, so Pamangele, can go ahead with the question, please.
Good evening, Barakat.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Please,
Yes,
I don't understand it. I'm so lost. What is the template for, first of all?
Okay. Again, I want to recap. If you all could remember, hello, can you hear me?
Very well, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So, like I said, I think somebody asked this question, and I've said already that as part of your requirements for this program, it is required that you also carry out a 6 project topic, just part of your assessment. Another way the institute can, assess you. Yes, in the course of how well have you learned? How well can you implement all these things you've learned in the course of the program? So if you remember, I think our 7th course was asset management. And
Yes.
the lecture facilitator actually gave us share insight about how to document our assets, asset disposal and the like. So since you've learned that, how well can you implement asset management? Can you even generate an asset register? So that's why we are ensuring that for everyone who goes through this program, they are able to carry out this project topic. Usually, we've asked students now say they've been able to post about this project, 6 project topics that they've done during their interviews, and it actually got them the right job, because not all facility managers can carry out these 6 project topics. But the difference you will be making after completing this program is that you can even include it in your CV that you have been able to, carry out a 6 project topic for your own organization. This is another way of you adding to your organization. Students who have been able to do this in the past, giving testimonial that they got recommendations from their bosses based on this. So basically, what we are trying to do now is that we want to assess how well you learned in the course of this training. How well can you implement all the knowledge you've acquired in this training? And that's why you'll be generating an asset register for your organization. So we've explained earlier that all these templates have been made easy for you so that you can just walk through and document accordingly. So for the asset register, we said a lot already about it. Just work with the headers and document information appropriately. Asset register is a very key document facility managers need to work with. And so for everyone who has gone through this program, you should be able to post about you generating an asset register for your organization or for your own company. So that's why we're taking you through this program. So the very first project topic is asset register. We've already discussed about that. So I think we'll just go to the next project topic. That's clear. Okay, Mr. Anya, your hand is up.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Anya, you have something to say?
Yeah, because that's the way the last speaker said. I was a bit lost here because the OT was just coming in and out, but you've been able to break down a bit. But that needs clarity. This FM Masterclass Project MS Word document, this one I'm seeing on my screen now, is it going to be shared with all of us? Is it going to be shared?
Okay, so it's already at all of the resources you need on the LMS portal. So just scroll to your portal where you have the course overview, course outline, and locate where you have the FM project docket. Jerry, you'll be able to download.
Sorry, I didn't get that. FM project was?
Docket, project docket. Okay. It's on the portal. Just scroll down towards the bottom end. You see.
Okay, that's one. I'll get something like this. Then 2, this is submission. Okay, same way, submission is going to be done on the platform as well.
Yes.
Then I wanted to ask if these project topics itself, where are we getting them from? I don't know. Is it on this?
Is in the project document. When you download the project docket, you will get this exact document.
Okay, there are 6 on this sheet, on this one.
Yes, there are 6.
Okay. And then the one that has to do your write-up, is it like the normal university project pattern we are following?
What did you say? I didn't get that.
The one that has to do your write-up, where you have your table of contents, executive.
Yes, we are still going through that. We are still going through that. This is just the whole asset register. Asset register is basically just an Excel sheet that is required. So, but for every other one that has a different format, I will definitely.
Okay, so we built this sample I'm seeing here now on Excel and infused the necessary information. Is that what you mean?
What is it?
This scroll a bit, go up. Just scroll, or is it down or up? Go to the first, that access management template.
The template itself.
Up. Is it
this
up?
One?
Yeah, now are you building this on Excel?
Yes, you just copy out what you have here into an Excel sheet.
And then put it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
When you work with sales works better in Excel. So just work.
Okay. So using our office space and necessary things that we have.
Yes, especially for people who are already practicing.
Since it's a learning process, let's assume that all of us are students, because it's the recommendation from me or a suggestion. You must take it. I want to appeal or suggest that everybody should have the opportunity to talk to a supervisor or be assigned a supervisor. Trust me, it's not the case. We will be practicing, but trust me, some of us will need that. So if we limit it to only those who, that in quotes, are not so familiar with FM, trust me, some of my colleagues there would like, come on, this passion. So I want to appeal that this supervisorship should be
Yes,
to anybody.
definitely. You mean the internship or the supervisorship?
That's you mentioned something about those who are not used to FM will have the supervisor, so they can ask questions, and then those of us practicing, oh, here is our own and all that. I wanted to.
Okay, so for those practicing already,
yes. You not tell me, but you are practicing.
Yes, I understand. Thank you for that suggestion, George. Okay, so just let me put more clarity to that. So in the course of this project, please at any time, should you require any clarification or any concern or challenge, please can always feel free to reach out to Mr. Paul or myself or any of the faculty members you familiarize yourself with. Okay, please feel free at any point in time if you need any clarification regarding the project or any topic, please. This project topic, the project itself I tell students, if they're able to work diligently with this, you can earn your mark freely. They're able to do the required thing. So if at any point in time you are not clear with one or two things, please, you can always reach out. Even I think our group chat is, it's engaging as usual. We put in questions, then Mr. Paul will respond. Or if you feel you want to just put a personal call conversation, please, you can always feel free to do that, Mr. George. I hope that's fine. Okay, Mr. Ife Oluwaseton, I think we need to have 6. Okay.
I just wanted to clarify something. Okay? Since we're using our organizations as this case study, the maintenance strategy, is it what is being adopted on ground or what should be adopted for each asset?
Okay, yes. So yes, it should be what is, because your facility, okay, if for instance, let me give an example. What's example now? Let's say AC, yes, air conditioning now. That should be a planned preventive maintenance strategy that should be put in place for it, which I expect should be the same for your organization. But should, in case you have any contrary opinion to what you have, because the whole essence of this is for the faculty members to be able to assess how well you have acquired what they taught you in the course of this training. So if, for instance, you're talking about AC and you're putting on to failure strategy, it means you are telling the faculty member that, oh, I'm not really learned well with regards of the maintenance strategy. So if at all, whatever strategy is put in place and whatever you've learned in class, you should be able, what difference you'll be able to make now is what you've learned. The additional knowledge should now, override whatever you have in place. Like we said earlier, I'm sure all of the faculty members have also even emphasized on it. We should be able to make that difference. Whatever is not in place, you as a facility manager, after going through this course, should be able to make those changes. Let the change begin. I hope that's clear.
So, excuse me, sorry, this is Godwill. So, meaning the maintenance strategy should be your own personal recommendations, right?
Your own personal recommendation according to what is required. I wouldn't expect to see air conditioning here and seeing run to failure strategy. No, that's not a good strategy. You need to be able to allocate the right strategy accordingly to the right assets. That's one of the things you must have learned in the course of this training. Okay, Mr. Aluko, do you still have something to say?
Yeah, I have something I want to ask a question. Sorry. My question is that, first and foremost, are we picking a project topic as said, or we are doing it, or there's a general project topic we need to work on?
Sorry, come again. I didn't get that, Mr. Aluko.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, I said, are we picking a project topic ourselves? When we are.
Okay, no. You are doing all six project topics are compulsory because these are key project topics facility managers need to work with. Would have even given you 12 or 15, but we have actually highlighted the 6 key project documents that facility managers need to work with, and thus you need to carry out all the 6 project documents.
Okay. Secondly, like some offices that doesn't have more than just ground floor, like a bungalow house, and they have facilities and they can report. Is it, well, can we use that tool?
Yes, you can use it. You can use it. You can use it. Just ensure that you document the assets accordingly as you have it. You can use it. We encourage that you use your own organization so that you can add value to it, because at the end of the day, as you're submitting your reports to the institute, you're also documenting and submitting same into your own organization or into your system. So please, we encourage, if you're building your facility is just a one bungalow, please do it. Please make use of it. It's fine. Mr. Frank, I think we need to
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
What if you have machines that are used for production? Would you just highlight the entire machine, or you be naming it part by part?
No, I don't mean part by part, no.
For example,
assets, if it's AC, I expect you to capture the whole AC. What do you say?
Like, for example, you have a refinery system.
Okay.
Would you capture?
So just capture the system as a whole. I think that's the appropriate thing. We don't need to come into start distributing spare parts and the likes. Just capture it as a whole. Just where you capture the generator as a whole without bringing out the spare parts.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that's all. Let's run through the second project topic, which is the FCA. Okay, for FC, the project topic 2 is the facility condition assessment. This is also another key document facility manager need to work with. FCA would actually, give you the insight about how your facility is doing in terms of in terms of condition, how in what good shape is it? In what condition is it? Is it in a good shape or deteriorating shape? Does it have, is there need for recommendation in terms of repairs and the likes? So, but for every facility managers that are currently in this program, there's need for you to be able to individually carry out what we call FCA, individually. In the course of this training, as you all agree with me that we had a class on facility condition assessment, where the facilitator actually highlighted the importance of FCA, how you can calculate your FCI, how your FCI can actually depict the state of your facility. Because if you're able to calculate your FCI, it tells you what state or what condition your facility is. Is it in a good shape? Is it in a poor or if there is need for you to totally replace this instead of repairing, FCA would be the FCA would be what would determine what you make that conclusion on. So for FCA in this project, we have the required format for it. For the the checklist, we have a checklist that you can actually do on either an Excel sheet or MS Word, depending on your own preference. But for the FCA, it is required that you have a cover page that will carry out your name, the address of the facility you're working with, the picture of the building, and the dates of when you are carrying out this report. And also in that, your cover page, you should also have what we call the executive summary that will give insight about your findings regarding, FCA is an assessment. You need to thoroughly carry out this assessment as it is in your own organization. So it's not, oh, I'm going to check online for no. Although you might really need that at some point in time to source for information online, but FCA is specific to your own organization. The FCA findings in my organization will be definitely different from what we find in established facility. So, but this template will definitely guide you through how you can, carry it out without any glitch. Also in your cover page document, I'll come in MS Word. You should also be able to give an executive summary of your reports after you must have made use of the checklist that you see, I think, the next page of this slide. You should also be able to give an introduction of what you're talking about in terms of FCA. The facility description as well should be documented on your cover page. So when it comes to the Excel sheets, also picture gallery should come in. I need to also emphasize on that. When you talk about FCA would be able to assess the deficiencies the need for repairs in your facilities, what recommendations need to be given in terms of the health of each of your assets. So it's only when you conduct an FCA that you'll be able to see all of these findings and be able to give recommendations accordingly. So for FCA, you need to be able to even show pictures of all of these deficiencies you are seeing in the course of your assessment. So if you are saying there's a leaking roof in your facility or something, you need to be able to show pictures. Remember that we said that we want you to even submit same back to your organization. So if you actually, if your findings are based on some of these deficiencies or repair, maintenance repair, there's need for you to depict them in pictures so that whatever you are saying can also be related to whatever pictures have documented. So like I said, if for instance, in the course of the assessment, you realize that there's a leaking roof in your organization, you need to be able to show pictures for it and be able to document it. When you're showing that back to your management, they're able to see and put to it accordingly. So that's for that. Also in your the MS Word, the Word document format of the FCA, you need to also be able to calculate your facility condition. It's very, very important for FCA. When you're doing an FCA and there's no FCI, the faculty would assume as though you have not presented your work in the required format. FCI is very, very important, but FCI will be able to determine how well your facility is doing. Is it in a good shape? Is it in a deteriorating shape? Or is there's a need for you to just totally replace the building instead of repairing? So that's what FCI will do for you and be able to give conclusion and recommendations at the end of your assessment. So this is the checklist that you'll be working with. So this can also come in a Word document or Excel format, depending on how well you work, because you can just definitely copy all of these cells and put it in Word. But for some people who prefer, I think I work better with Excel when it comes to cells. So you can also determine that based on your own preference. Okay, so these are just the checklists we want you to work with. However, if you have additional sub-components you might want to assess in your own buildings that are not highlighted, please feel free to include them. So for the very first one here, we have structural frames. We need to precise the description. What is wrong with it? What can you see? What deficiency can you see in that structure? Okay, like for the roof, like I said, okay, for the roof, I was saying if it was a leaking roof, condition rating. There's a condition rating index that you can use in rating your sub-components. So you'll be able to go through this key rating table to be able to allocate accordingly. So if, for instance, you realize that the roof is leaking, so what condition rating do you need to assign to this? You need to check through this list to be able to assign poorly. So if you are rating it 1, it means it is excellent and there's no visible defects, there's no still new or it's under near new condition. That's when you rate the sub-component 1. If you rate it 5, it means it is poor, critically damaged component or in need of immediate repair and the likes. So be able to go through this table to be able to allocate accordingly to your findings and your this line item for it. So for the observed defects, okay, like condition rating for I'm taking roof as an example, roof surface. Okay, I'm giving it 1. Like I said, I'm giving it 5 rather. 5 here means poor, meaning it's critically damaged. So when it's critically damaged, you need to be able to give your observed defects. What have you seen? It's leaking roof, tattered, whatever defects you've been able to observe in the course of your assessment, you need to also document them. Then the repair scope summary. As facility managers, you should also be able to give a scope summary of whatever repair or maintenance you need to do. So that should be documented here. Then the estimated cost of repair. So what's the cost of the repair? You need to document it. Then for the CRV, the cost replacement value. So current replacement value. So current replacement value means the value of you actually acquiring a new a new roof. That's what it means, because I'm using roof as an example here. We've talked about the repair scope summary, the estimated cost of repairing it need to be documented. Then the current replacement value, that is, okay, if we don't want to repair this roof, then what's Sir Frank, I'm coming. Then what's the current replacement value of actually acquiring it? Then to calculate your FCI, you all know the formula that is the cost of repair over the current replacement value to calculate your FCI. And like I said earlier, that your FCI will be able to depict the current situation of that facility. If you are able to get 0 to 5, it means your facility or your asset is in good condition. Then 5 to 10 is fair. Then 10 upward is critical. That is, you might need to, replace the facility or the assets entirely. Okay, Mr. Frank, can have your question now.
Okay, I just wanted to ask cost.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Repair scope summary. What does that mean?
What do you say?
Repair scope summary.
Okay. So, repair scope summary is a summary of what you intend to do. So if it's a leaking roof, what is expected of you to do? Are they just going to, make use of the plaster, the plaster, the roof, whatever scope, whatever summary is required, or is it that they are buying a new roof to, whatever, this comes to what is required so that specific deficiency you have observed. So what is required? What do you intend to do to repair, to fix the deficiency? That's what is required in that repair scope summary.
Okay, thank you. So this estimated cost is once you get what is required, you're now looking at, okay, this is the cost of that?
Exactly.
What you want to replace, right?
Yes, to repair it. The current replacement value is what they are to replace it entirely.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Mr. Abbas.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
You were talking about the FCI and the formula. I didn't get that area clearly.
Okay, so for the FCI, I said is the total cost of repair over the current replacement value. So whatever repair cost you have here, you divide it by the current replacement value here to get your FCI.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think that's that about FCI. Do we have any other question before we move to project 3? So just make use of the templates here. If you have additional information you want to include, please feel free to do that. But ensure that we are able to document as many as possible. Because when we say, okay, just whatever you have, we realize that some people will just give you just 2-line item and they say, oh, I've carried out an FCA in my facility. So just ensure that you thoroughly do what is required of you. Even in some cases, when the condition rating is 1, that is excellent, you definitely will not find any defects and definitely will not need to calculate FCI. But for old facilities, I can assure you that there are things you will need to observe during that assessment and you should be able to document accordingly to this report. There's no other question. I think we can just move to project 3. Project 3 is the HSE aspect. In people in the virtual class.
I can't hear you. What was the third one?
You can't hear me? Can you hear me? It's the health, safety, security, and how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay. The third project now is the HSE, Health, Safety, Security, and Environment project. As facility managers, we are also in charge of the health and safety of our own organization. Facility managers should also ensure that the life and properties of their people within them is in safe condition. I think it's only the virtual class, the physical class that have not had the HSC class, and this has been scheduled to for next week. That will be the concluding class for the physical class next week. So for the HSC, this is also another important document that facility manager needs to work with. You need to be able to carry out this HSC audit. HSE audit is that important at the asset register. It is, a key document you need to have in place if you are being called a proficient facility manager. These are the documents we expect you to work with. And not just being called a facility manager because you have the years of experience, but because you are able to document all of these projects accordingly, and you are able to work with them or reference to them. So like I said earlier that the health safety of every individual in that facility is in the purview of that facility manager. So, and as such, facility managers are responsible for the health safety of their facility. So as facility managers, it is required that from time to time you carry out an HSE audit. So from time to time to carry out HSE audits to ensure that everything is in place. Okay, during one of our visits to one of the sites, I think that was some years back, it was one of the estates around, it should be at Ikota, yes, around Lekki. So it was a new estate, like not too big of an estate, but people who living here and people who are abroad and just invested in the estates by just acquiring one or two properties there. So when we went there just for a normal facility tour and everything, we realized that not a single fire extinguisher can be found within that estate. Although it was a new estate that was already into operation already. But in the course of our own facility tour and the likes, we realized that because facility manager who is in charge actually just came for this training. And when we went for the facility tour and we realized that there were some recommendations from the industry expert that went with us. And when we now got to the part of this HSE, I said, okay, let's even see what HSE policy we have in place. And we realized that not even a single fire extinguisher can be found. Even the facility manager does not even have one in our own care. But thank God she actually took this program. She was able to rectify that aspect. So when it comes to HSE, facility managers are also in charge. You need to be in charge of the health and safety of your own organization. When you carry out HSE audits from time to time, you'll be able to see lapses within the organization and be able to fix accordingly. Okay. So in this project 3, the templates required is also similar to that of the FCA. You need to do a cover page, executive summary, the introduction, general description of the project, the facility as well, the purpose of your audit, the objective, the methodology. So when it comes to HSE audits, HSE audit would actually involve you asking, it's an audit, right? You need to ask questions, you need to engage with people who are also using your facilities to be able to get the appropriate information. So let me just take us through the templates we have. This is the checklist you'll be working with. For the HSE, I've also mentioned that it's similar to that of the FCA. The reporting format is similar to that of the FCA. You might decide to work through this in an Excel sheet on a Word document, when it's fine. Or if you also, whatever preferences works for you, I think just ensure that your work is presentable. I think it matters most to the faculty members as well. So when it comes to this checklist, these are questions. It's not something you might be asking yourself. You need to engage people in terms of these audit questions. You need to be engaging with people. It's not something you want to check online to fill it in. It's a life project, right? You need to be able to carry out this project as it is applicable to your own organization. So the very first one, let's take for example, your organization now. The question says, does the organization have an HSE policy in place that displayed? Does your organization have an HSE policy in place? You might not know. You go to ask, okay, if there's an HSE officer, do we have an HSE policy in place? Where is it? And is it displayed? Are people aware about it? You need to be able to document yes or no because of this audit. Okay, then excuse me. Okay, so you need to ask a question and be able to engage with people in terms of these audit questions. not something you want to download from anywhere. You need to be able to even see. You can see the very question is asking, is it displayed? Okay, it's possible you have it, but is it displayed? Yes or no? You should be able to, if it's yes, then you are good to go. Then what's the impact? What impact is this HSC being in place? What impact is it making? Is it communicating the right thing to the people? Are people taking precautions of what is required of them in terms of health and safety? You know, these are the impact of it being in place and displayed is what you should put here. Then the risk level. If something is in place and people understood the assignment, I expect the risk level here should be low. The recommendation, whatever recommendation you need to put as facility managers, if they have seen anything or any observation that you think needs to improve, because the overall benefit of this thing is that as facility managers, you should be able to give recommendations after each of these project topics. So it's not a project topic you are doing and it's okay, it's just for doing sake. No, we don't want you to have that mindset. You should be able to give recommendations that would benefit your organization in the long term. Okay, so that's that for that. So just walk through with the line items of audit questions. If you have additional questions that are not outlined, please feel free to include them and document accordingly. Also, in the course of your HSC reports, pictures are also very critical, because in your audit, because one of these questions would eventually give you that insight about some things that are not in right places. Okay, so I want to use an example. I want to use an example of a naked wire. So in the course of your HSC audit, and you realize that there's an exposed, because even exposed wire can just be there in the office, nobody cares, it's been there, but in the course of your audit, you should be able to document that naked wire, take a clear picture of it, and be able to document it, and then give recommendations on how that can be implemented. In that format, all of these are outlined in this project topic, HSC. So like I said earlier, that HSC is also similar to FCA. In your cover page documents, where you need to have all of these cover page, executive summary, introduction, you have your audit findings. You can see the audit findings state all your findings and pose potential risk to people and impacting the HSC as well. So you should be able to, whatever unsafe act, let me just put it that way, whatever unsafe acts you realize or you observe in the course of your HSC audit, please document them so that you'll be able to give recommendations at the end of the day. Picture gallery is also important, so that whatever things you're seeing that are not, if it's a dark area at night, okay, there's poor lighting in this area at night, and which can actually pose a potential risk to people who come to this site. These are things you should document and be able to give recommendations going forward. We want you to make that different after you must have completed this program. So all of these formats have been specified for you in this project topic. I think HS is also pretty straightforward. And then move to project 4. Okay, project 4, emergency preparedness and business continuity plan. This is the EP and BC. That's just short form. Again, the physical class group have not had the class session of this, but this has also been scheduled for next week Saturday. So emergency preparedness and business continuity plan. These are key documents facility managers need to work with. I call it the plan B. Emergency preparedness, you need to document the process or the procedures you need to take immediately there's a crisis in your facility. It's not just that, oh, I have it in my head. You might not be on site when some of these things will happen, but because you have it documented and these are handed over to people, people can always reference to them when the need arises. Okay, so we want you as facility managers to be able to document things as required in terms of emergency preparedness and business continuity. For the business continuity on the other plan, that's also another documentation you need to also document. These are actually steps that you need to take in order to restore your business back to the pre-crisis state. When there's an emergency, you need to take certain steps you need to take to be able to be able to recover from that crisis. And if you are okay, if for instance let's use power outage in your facility, in case maybe where your generator is faulty or the NEPA normal this electricity, just anything can happen as facility. But what backup plan do you have? What backup plan? And that's why we have the solar and inverter batteries now, just for backup. So as facility managers, for each of our operations, especially if we have anything that can disrupt our key activities, we should be able to have plan B, backup plan for them, so that we can be able to recover from any crisis as soon as possible. So for the EP and BC document as well, templates have also been specified. There are actually 7 key sub headers you need to work with when it comes to EP and BC, which include the risk assessment, the business impact analysis, the incident response plan, roles and responsibilities, key contact list, and the business recovery plan. All of these templates have been outlined there. Okay, so for the reporting format as well, you can decide, it's also similar to that of the FC. If you wish to do all of this in an Excel, in a what's it called, Word document format, is fine, because this table are pretty not too big. If you wish to just copy and put in MS Word, or if you want to put in an Excel sheet, it's also fine. But it's very important that your cover page, your executive summary, introduction comes in a Word document format. Okay, so for the risk management, this is what the typical template looks like. I think the very first example here says frequent generator breakdown. Your own risk in your facility might not be generator. Just highlight risks that are pertaining to your own business, things that can disrupt your own key activities is what you should highlight here and be able to give up contingency plans for. Okay, so for your frequent generator breakdown, the likelihood, what's the likelihood of your own generator breaking down? What's the likelihood? This is specific to each facility. So what is happening in site A is different from what will be happening in site B. So you should be able to answer this question and be able to document down. So if, for instance, your own risk, maybe light is a key component for your business. Once there is no light, it means your business might burn down. So you need to actually look at the risk that will posing these threats to your business and be able to have contingency plans for them. So for generator frequent breakdown, the likelihood here, this one says very high. So when the likelihood of it happening, that is having frequent breakdown is very high, then what's the impact? What's the impact on your business? Is the impact just minimal? Even if there's no light, we can definitely go ahead with that business, nothing will happen. Or even if there's no light, I mean, for that day will not be able to work. We should be able to allocate the impact level accordingly, and it applies to your own facilities. Then the priority is also very high. It means this, with them having lights is a key component of their business. So priority level has rated very high. So what preventative action as a facility manager are you going to document in place for this frequent generator breakdown? What we have here is to develop a preventive maintenance schedule for each of these generators and dutifully adhering to the maintenance plan to foster equipment reliability. Okay, so these are another one of preventive actions you can put in place. You can also have different strategic actions you can put in place just to be able to tackle all of this and be able to follow them. You're not just documenting for documenting sake, but be able to walk through this preventative action. So what contingency plans are you putting in place? It says deploy the off-peak and peak strategy in your light usage or energy usage to ensure that light is not being disrupted in the facility. For others, it could be water shortage, it could be whatever risk you must have, you need to just look around your facility in terms of business and operation If I'm working in an hospital, for example, my risk is definitely different for somebody working in a, let's say, commercial environment or a residential apartment. So you need to be able to document your own risk as it is applicable within your organization. So that's for the risk management table. If you have additional information you want to work on regarding this, please feel free to do that. You need to work on it as well. Okay, so also for the business impact analysis, the facilities management. Okay, what critical business activity are you talking about here? Okay, facility management as a whole. So what's the description? For management of power or energy sources. What's the priority of this? Is it very high for your own business activity? Yes, it's very high. So what's the impact of loss? What's the loss of this happening? The facility management is being affected in your business. What impacts does it bring to your business? So you need to also document that accordingly. Okay, so that's the what's RTO again? Response time objective. So this is actually the time required for you to restore back to your normal activity after a crisis might have happened. So if, for instance, if there is a facility management crisis, what's the time response for you to be able to bring that activities back to the normal state? Is it 24 hours? Is it 2 hours, 4 hours? You should be able to document it accordingly. So the incident response plan and immediate response checklist. So your incident response plan, if you make use of this template, should be able to document what actions that you have taken in the past to tackle each of these 9 items. The sole essence of the business impact analysis is for you to document, to have a backup plan, a plan B to be able to restore, to ensure that your business is continuous. For some people, if there's an emergency and they have not actually planned accordingly for this emergency, it takes them time, they suffer from that emergency, it takes them time to be able to recover from that emergency. So, but as facility managers, you should not be found wanted in these areas. You should be at the forefront of generating your EPM, that is the Emergency Preparedness and Business Continuity Plan. Okay, so just impute your actions taken for each of the 9 items when it comes to incident response. What did you do to be able to respond to that incident? To be able to document that. This is for reference purpose. It's for reference purpose, so that when incident like that occurs in future, you can always reference back to the actions taken and also implement that whatever action. Okay, so also for the roles and responsibilities, for this, as facility managers, it is very important that roles and responsibilities are clearly outlined. This is also a document that should be readily available to people around. Okay, so for facility managers, you should be able to have a sheet. In some cases, they put all of these things on the notice board, so that in case of that crisis, if facility manager is not reachable, facility coordinator can be reached out to. These are contact lists that should also be accessible to all. Okay, so for this key contact list, it's also similar. It involves both internal and external key contacts. So for the internal key contacts, just staff that have been assigned in terms of emergency cases, who are you to contact? All of these contacts should be outlined. If you have an HSC person in place, we expect that with the key contact list, have all of your emergency staff already documented. In most cases, some of these things are always at the forefront notice board of the organization, so that it's not something you have to start dragging when emergency occurs, so that even in case of emergency, somebody can just go to the board and say, okay, this is the list, and we can always reach out to them. But for the external involves, it could even involve the fire service people, would involve the police in terms of security, would even involve your water supplier, some in some facilities or in some key business activities. When there's water disruption, you need to contact your what's it called, the water tankers. So you need to document them. There are external vendors that need to come to your aid when you have crises like that. So it's not only when there's no water, and maybe your bowl is also, when water disruption happens, especially on the island, they immediately resort to water tankers. So if you as a facility managers already have a vendor in place, it means that it take you longer take a longer RTO for you to be able to recover from that crisis. But if you already have an established vendor that will come to, even in most cases, we encourage that you have a good rapport with all of your external emergency people, because in case you are in an emergency, you have a good rapport with them. It's very, very much easier for them to come to your rescue. It's not just only when you need them. Even just on a weekly or monthly, you can call them. Just call in just to establish that rapport, so that when that emergency finally occurs, they come to your aid. I could remember during the SARS period, so the facility manager assigned to ShopRite at Ikeja, he said that the only way the youth could not really invade the facility was because the police people they actually stood for them. They were all around them, and people could not really just come in to just vandalize the mall just the way they did to other people. But what we are trying to say in essence is that the facility manager was able to establish a rapport. He had already established a rapport with the RRS team, and that was why at that point in time when he needed them, they were able to come to his rescue. In other words, what we are trying to say now is that as facility managers, for any of our key activities, for any of our external vendors we might be needing, it's very critical that we have a good rapport with them, so that in case of emergency, just a single call will bring them coming to your site. So all of these need to be documented, even if it's a generator repair person, whatever external vendors you'll be needing to restore any of your key activities, please ensure to document them. And the business recovery plan as well, should also have that in place and document them as required. Okay. I think I'll move on to project 5. So I think after this project 6, we then take question and clarification on project 6. Okay, so moving on to project 5, the maintenance plan. I think this is also one of the simplest project topics. You basically just need to work with your assets register to be able to work with the maintenance plan. It's pretty straightforward. An Excel sheet is sufficient. The sufficient format for you to work with when it comes to maintenance plan. The maintenance plan basically is just to ensure that you track and monitor how your maintenance activities is being carried out. You are not just saying, okay, I have it in my head. No, let there be documentation in place. We are looking at the case of the General Hospital in, I think that was in Lagos that happened when the crisis of the elevator happened. So somebody was asking was that when was the last time the lift was serviced? When last was it serviced? And when is the next time for it to be serviced? So it's not something that facility manager at that point in time. So I just have it in mind. It needs to be able to show proof for it. And as facility managers, we encourage that you work with documentation, because it will save you a lot of stresses and even be able to make your work much more easier. So for the maintenance plan, like I said, it's just more of you carrying, just copy whatever you have in after you must have worked with your asset register. Whatever information you have in your asset register is all you need to work with in the maintenance plan, but with emphasis on the maintenance aspects. Okay, so let me just bring your attention to it now. Okay, now you can see where the maintenance strategy here starts. So this is where the key information for maintenance plan starts from. It starts from the maintenance strategy. You should be able to correctly allocate to each of your assets the appropriate strategy for it, and as well the maintenance activity. You can see maintenance strategy is for maintenance activity. Maintenance strategy here says PPM, and what is the activity? What are the activities? You need to clean the filter, you need to wash the condenser, and there are a series of activities that will be involved. So you need to also be able to document this as facility managers. What's the frequency of this maintenance? Is it a daily activity routine? Is it monthly? Is it bi-weekly? Is it annually? Is it quarterly? As facility managers, we need to be able to document the then cost of this maintenance should be documented just for transparency sake. It depends on your facilities, or it depends within the organization. We recommend that whatever you are doing is being clear and visible to the management. Okay, so also when it comes to outsourced or insourced, it means is it an activity that's carried out in-house? It's an activity that is, or is a maintenance that is carried out by an outsourced. So you have to document the responsible party means the name. So when you say outsource means it's be given out to an external party. So what's the name of the responsible party will now give you the name of the external party. So if they are a big company, needs to be documented. Then this day one calendar is typically what the plan will look like. So if you are saying it's a daily activity, we want you to be able to highlight that this is what you do on the daily activities and be able to track it on that sheet. An Excel sheet will work for this format. You should be able to track it. So for some people who have not done this, even with the period where you are doing it, you should be able to prepare that, prepare the maintenance plan and show what is required of it. So if, for instance, you are talking about a daily activities, if for a facility manager who is already working, we expect that you should be able to show how many times was it done in a week, maybe in your calendar and that Excel sheet. But for somebody who is, just taking this for the very first time, able to still depict. Even sometimes I tell people you can use colors. Okay, if for instance you're talking about a daily activities, you can decode with colors. Daily activities would stand for black. If it's a monthly maintenance routine, you can depict it with green, but be able to also give that key tables of whatever colors you are using at the end of your template. So if your black color is representing monthly or daily, you should be able to just highlight and give meanings to whatever daily activity or monthly activities you are running on the calendar, the maintenance plan. I think that's for that. Maintenance plan is just pretty straightforward. And for the last project, which is the project for projecting and reporting. Usually, students will say this is a very sensitive project. They cannot release their financial figures. It's fine. If you do not want to release it. Although we are not going to be measuring your accuracy when it comes to this, but we need to be able to see that you understand what is required. Although figure is not as if you put a figure now, we then start. But we want you to be able to clearly give your line budget for there and report it be for facility managers. So usually your operating expenditure and capital expenditure are key are the two main expenditures you need to give more financial reporting on this template. Usually some people say they don't have the figures. Like I said, not having the appropriate figure is fine, but we want to be able to see that you understood the financial management class we had and we are able to implement all of those things in place. Also very important that you give assumptions and justifications to each of the line item modules given in this list. If you are using an Excel, we expect to use formulas, no manual calculation. Facility managers should be able to plan their financial budgets at the beginning of every year. So there are some specific things the faculty members will be looking out for to ensure that you make use of formulas, your work is neat, you give assumptions and justifications as required. Like I said earlier, the two main expenditures you're just looking at in the course is just the operational capital expenditure. Just put in the figures. It is applicable in your own organization. I think, having said that, I think we've covered all the 6 project topics required for us in the course of this training. And again, I want to just emphasize on the importance of the project. Like you said earlier, that the overall average score is 100%. But how do we come about this 100%? There are 4 criteria that I've outlined that I'll choose calculating this, which includes 1, your attendance, which is 10%, your assessment, which is 30%, and your exam. The exam is just 300 questions, but the weight is 60%. So when you add 60 plus 30 assessment plus 10 attendance, it gives you 100. Then the remaining 100 goes to the project. The project has an additional 100 notes attached to it. Each of these projects has the asset register, for instance, is weighted 15% out of the 100. The FCA is weighted 25%. The HSC is weighted 50% as well. Then the EP and BC is weighted 25% as well. Maintenance plan is 10%. HSC 10%. Budgeting and reporting is also 10%. So this will eventually give us another additional 100 marks. So adding this 100 to 100 gives it total 200, which will then be divided by so to give you required 100%. So again, I usually encourage students that for the projects, put in all the required effort because it's very easy for you to acquire all the grades you can get in there. It can really boost your mark, can boost your score if you do what is required of you. Again, for the submission deadline, we already stated that it's maximum 6 months. So we expect that the deadline for submission is October 30th. Usually I tell students, please don't procrastinate your projects work. People who tend to procrastinate it eventually are not able to meet up, because reason being that as time goes on, you have lots of activities on the table. But the moment you are able to start now, I can assure you that before October you'll be able to get it done. For the graduation comes up in December, and for you to be able to get your confirmation, because immediately you meet up with all the criteria, your statement of results will be generated to you, and confirmation that you can then start. You have been awarded the FMD credential will also be specified, and this is only when you met with the criteria. So we expect that for this class, latest October 30th, you must have submitted all your projects, and subsequently, for people who are able to submit on time, they get their result on time. Or for whatever reason you are not able to submit at that October 30th, you should please speak to Mr. Paul, send an email to training@max-migold.com so that you can be considered based on whatever requests you have put forward. For everything we've said about this project topic today, what we intend is that we want that for everyone who have gone through this program, we are able to make that difference aside every other facility manager in terms of documentations. Documentation will save us some lot of mistakes, errors, and makes our work much more easier as facility managers. What else I want to say? Okay. So like I said, the project is just 100%, which can also be easily ended if you do what is required. I don't know if you have questions. I can take questions now in the next 10-15 minutes. Or if you have any clarification at all, you can let me know. Tomorrow again, I think it's just a gentle reminder for the trip coming up tomorrow. Details on that have been shared with us. It's just going to be a 2-hour session to ensure to be there in time so that we don't miss out in any single part of the session. Okay, Mr. Franklin, I'm going with your question, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Thank you for that. I'm grateful. I actually want to ask this HSC project. You know, I happen to manage a branch which is in a complex. So we just took one of the suits. You know, that's going to involve me going around. We don't have such plans. How do I go about that HSC?
You say you don't have enough time to do that.
No, I'm not talking about time. I'm saying we manage I manage a branch of our company,
Okay.
Is in a suit. Is in a complex.
Okay.
So we took a suit in a complex. You
Okay.
understand? So you know the HSC plan, the health. So how do I go about that? You know,
okay, so for the HSC now, for the site are you managing the site or just
I'm not managing the site, I'm just managing just the suits there.
The suit.
Because the other companies
there,
just a suit.
The suit. What's the size of the suit?
It's like a 3 or 4 bedroom, something like 4-bedroom flat.
Yes,
we have
make use of it. Just within, I'm sure we should be able to have at least 20. You have up to 20 staff members there, or 15?
No, I have like about let's say 15.
So please engage with them, and yes, just make use of your site.
So the ones I only have 4 permanent staff. The others are just coming working staff and just come in and go out.
Yes, make do of people within that suit. Make do of people within that suit. Or is there an HSC personnel assigned to that building already?
No, I don't know about that.
Unless you want to do a community service by maybe focusing on the mall, but if you are just coming down, breaking it down, just your suit, then it means you have to just maintain that suit information, ensuring from just your staff members.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So God will.
Yeah, I want to ask, can someone defer their exams until after the project?
If you want to defer, there should be reason for you to defer. Why do you want to defer? There are personal reasons. You should immediately write an email to training@Max-Migold.com stating why you should be considered for a deferment. Okay?
Okay.
You should be able to give reasons for why you want to defer. Okay, but again, I think that's another opportunity. When we go for site visit like that, I try to encourage networking with your peers, with your class members. Usually, I will tell students that if you're in a program like this, ensure you form a study group where you all can rub minds, share. I don't know if that has been going on in this group, but usually I'm looking at the standard. We are all busy with our life, but I think there's need for us to also have a group circle, a study group circle where we can always read together, share information. Because now we want to defer Mr. Godby. I don't know the reason. The reasons may be best known to you, but I realized that some students want to defer because they are scared. Don't be scared. You need to be able to, take up that decision now. Give it all that it takes. Now that you're in the program, whatever you have learned is still fresh within your memory now. And the only thing you can do better is just rub minds and share ideas with your classmates. And then tackle the exam is an open exam. So it's not as if we'll be monitoring you live, but the only person that will be able to, take the exam at least is only if you have read through the material, you've done your assessments, you familiarize yourself with what is valued. You'll be able to. It's pretty straightforward. Rather that you have attended the classes, you've done the assessments, and you're definitely sharing, engaging yourself with your class members. What did you learn from today's class? Have you been able to do these are things that would actually foster that motivation to take the exam. I wouldn't want anybody to defer their exam for reasons that are not tangible, maybe because they are scared, but give it a second thought. And I'm sure that you come out.
It's not really about being scared. It's just the time to take care of some, but it's okay. I've heard you. I still go ahead and just face
Okay,
it
Mr.
once and for
Emmanuel.
all.
Okay, no problem, sir. Mr. Emmanuel, you can go ahead, sir.
Yes, well done, Barakat. So on this exam issue, when is the exam coming up? When are you supposed to take the exam?
So the exam is actually starting from May 11th to 18th. But students will be scheduled in batches. So and it's going to be open for 48 hours. Let me emphasize more on that. The exam is a 300 OBJ questions, multiple choice questions, letter A to D. They are option questions, 300 questions. These questions are questions that have been randomly selected from your course modules, from the 30 course modules we've done. So there are questions within the course. That's why I said if you are familiarized yourself with the materials, you'll be able to scale through. And so if the exam is scheduled for 11 to 18, students will be scheduled in batches to take this exam as required. We will definitely send you by next week. You get the reference, the scheduled timetable list so that you can know when your date falls within. The reason is because we don't want to have everyone do it at the same time. Just give you time to do it at different intervals. 48 hours, portal will be able for you for 48 hours. But for these 300 questions, we have now then sectioned it into 100 questions in 3 batches. So we have batch A, batch 2, and batch 3. Each of these batch have 100 questions because we realize that 300 questions at a stretch might be too demanding for you. So you can do your very first 100 question in the morning, take a break. Maybe in the afternoon, you want to do your second 100 again. Then maybe the next day, you want to do the last 100 to complete the 300. But within 48 hours. So if you are scheduled, you'll be scheduled for 2 days. So if, for instance, your slot is going to be between 11th and 12th, so ensuring 48 hours window frame for you to be able to take the exam, but ensuring that whatever interval you want to take it doesn't exceed 48 hours of that your slot that has been assigned to. So 11th to 18th is when the exam has been scheduled for. Is that clear, Mr. Emmanuel?
So if someone now decide to do his own straight up, doing the 300 at the same time, is that permitted?
Yes, so it means once you are done with the 100, you click next because you need to be able to do that exam in chronological order. You must be able to do the very first 100 before you move to the second 100 and the third 100. So once you are done with the very first 100, we move to next like that. It's fine. If you want to do it straight up, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can do that as well. You're welcome. So, although there's going to be a revision, you're welcome. There's going to be a revision session. That's I think first Saturday in Sapo anchoring that session. So if you have any question, by then we expect that you must have gone deep with your reading. So if there are any areas you have found not clear or you need clarification, you can bring them to that session. Also, we'll also be treating some questions for you to also you practice with. Upon finishing that session on May 6th, we'll give you access to the more questions. You have access to more questions, 50 more questions that will be available for you for a period of 5 days before the real exam. So you can just practice as much as possible with that 50 questions. After the revision stuff we concluded on that Saturday, other information will be posted on the platforms. Mr. Abbas, yes, over to you, sir.
Thank you for all the presentation. I also want to get a very clear picture. You are saying 48 hours for the whole exam. Is it 100 per day or just within that 48 hours? And that 48 hours is just 2 days.
Yes.
Are we doing the exam for just 2 days or 100 per day?
Okay. So, like I
get
said,
a clear picture.
Okay. So for the 48 hours, you need to complete all the 300 questions. The very first, I think Mr. Emmanuel was asking that if he wants to do his own at a go. I said, yes, you can do it. That means you don't even need 48 hours to do it. You might need it, right? That means you don't want to do it because once the portal is open for you, Once the portal is open for you, at exactly 48 hours, it will be closed for you. So even if you don't do it in the morning, don't do it in the afternoon, even if it's the last, because it's going to be 90 minutes per 100 question. So even if it's going to be the last 3 hours you want to do it, the last 3 hours, your 48 hours you want to do it, ensuring that you complete all 300 questions is fine. But what we have done, why we have done that strategy is because we realized that doing 300 at a go within 3 hours might be too demanding for you. And so that's why we are giving you a time frame of 48 hours. So within these 48 hours, okay, my 48 hours start from 12 midnight. I can decide to do my very first 100 maybe around 1 a.m. 1 a.m. in the morning. I take a break, I sleep, or I read more. I can do my second 100 maybe in the morning around 7 a.m. again. I can then take a break and maybe do my remaining the last 100 batch, maybe just 3 hours to the end of my 48 hours. It depends. You need to, it also depend on your work schedule. You understand you're also still working at that point in time. So you need to plan well. If once we bring out the timetable, you confirm and be able to plan, okay, within these 48 hours, I think I'll be available from 12 midnight to 4 midnight, okay? The next hour I'll be available is from 10 in the morning to just plan yourself within that 48 hours, allocating time for each of these exam questions. I don't know if I'm clear. Again, let me emphasize on it. Within the 48 hours, you can decide to take your 3 batches of questions at different intervals or within scope of that 48 hours. It mostly exceed the 48 hours. Once it's 1 minute past that 48 hours, portal is going to be locked for you. You might not be able to access it. You can decide to take all the break that you need, but ensure that it's still within 48 hours. At different intervals, okay, I do my very first in the morning first. I do my very first 100%. I want to take a break. I need
Okay. Okay, that one is clear. Like some assessments that one has not been able to submit, is it still open for submission?
Yes. Again, I need to also emphasize on it. Please, for those who still have outstanding assessments, they are long overdue already. So, but let's start turning them.
I told you my phone got damaged. So
sorry about that. Yes, sorry about that.
Many days
so
for
it's
me
fine.
to.
You understand. So that's one of the challenges we see that students face in this program. But we at the other end, we are also considering you having too many backlogs that will choking for you. But if you have not submitted now, I think you can immediately. There's still room. Yes, there's still room for you to submit.
Yeah,
There's still room for you to submit.
I'll make so this weekend.
Right.
I'll try.
Well done, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, Mrs. Nkechi, go ahead with your question.
Okay, Barbara, thank you. It's been really great having you take us through this project process. Okay, in addition to the lecture notes, I want to ask, do we need to also read the National Building Code? Because there's a lot of pages, and I'm just thinking that there's a whole lot in addition to the lecture notes.
You don't need to. You don't need to. You can just, that's just an additional resources for you if you want to reference back
because
to
your boss, sorry to interrupt, your boss had mentioned at the last lecture that that there are likely to be some exam questions from the National Building Code. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so for any question that will be coming from that, it has already been referenced in the regulatory requirement and building code course material. So be rest assured that if you have diligently gone through the course material for building code, we are good to go with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Adekala, over to you.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I want to ask, you said we are doing 300 questions with 3 batches, 100, 100, and 100. I want to ask, in the first 100, do we have cost of material we need to read for the first 100, for the second 100, or it's just the whole courses we have done for the 300 together?
Okay, for that, okay, thank you. For the very first 100, the questions are actually even randomized. So what's required of you now is to must have read fully before you proceed with that exam. My very first 100 is going to be Mr. Abbas' very first 100, but in another sequential order. So my number one will not be your number one, will not be Mr. Abbas' number one, but it's the same set of questions, but not particular or not specified to, okay, let me say this is the course areas you need to look at for the very first 100. No, you need to must have gone through all the 30 course modules. Like I said, it's an open book exam, and the only way the exam would work well again for you is if you have familiarized yourself enough with the course, the resources, the learning resources. You can always reference back to them and the rest of the exam. We have 90 minutes for each of the 100 questions. So for each batch, you have 90 minutes. So that's 70 minutes for the 3 questions. I hope that's clear, Mr. Kalari.
Yeah, thank you. That's clear.
Okay. Do you have any other questions, clarifications? Okay, again, I think in this particular class, I think we have more facility managers who are already practicing than people who are new. But for those who are new and might be needing assistance in terms of internship is recommended for those who are unemployed. Please, if you are unemployed and you are ready to start a career in facilities management immediately, please reach out to us. We will work out a placement for you to work with immediately. So, but for those who have large portfolios, again, I will encourage that if you have large portfolios that you're managing, please, you can always indicate in the group that you need some of the class members to work with you on the project, and as such, you can do a team. And usually we allow maximum of 5 per group if the facility or if the portfolio is very large. Okay, more than if it's a very large portfolio, at least 5 people can manage, you can work on the project. But for very moderate size facilities or building, individual work it's recommended for that. I think that's all. I'm not sure there's another thing I want to say. Again, for the exam, I always encourage group study, especially for the people in the physical class. I think tomorrow's facility tour will also give us an avenue to network with ourselves. Please, you can always, share ideas. You have your groups, circle groups, study group rather, and be able to share the value learned in the course of this field. So far, the exam is also going to be done in the LMS portal. So able to ensure that you are already engaging with your LMS portal already.
That will be done on the portal.
What do you say?
Did you say the exam will be done via the portal? Is that what you said?
Yes. The LMS portal is the same portal where we'll do the exam. The same portal where we'll do the exam. So if you're not yet familiar with the portal, please let's get to it. If you need clarifications, the training department is open to you at any time, any day, with your questions or queries you need. I don't know if there's any other questions. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, your hand is up.
Yes, sorry, madam. I was thinking, when we talk about projects, most of the time we also talk about project supervisors. So for some part of this project, like the HSC part of it, the emergency preparedness part of it. So I was saying, is there any way?
Mr. Paul is our project supervisor for this project. Please, should at any point in time you need any clarification, feel free to reach out to him. You can also reach out to me if you need any clarifications, and I'll be willing to shed more light on. But at any point in time, you need any please feel free to always. I see that in this class, not every one of us have been engaging on the platform, but for the very few of us, please, if you have any concern, you can put there, support or respond. So see how respond accordingly as well. So for this project, Mr. Paul is our supervisor. I can always reach out to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay. In the absence of no question, I think it's safe to call it a day. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at the facility tour. Please, let's be punctual. Start at exactly 10 a.m. and wrap up 12 noon. That's the plan. But if we have to wait for others to come till after 10 means we might have to then take longer than expected. I wish everyone safe journey. Have a good evening. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you so much. Ajia Barakat, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prepare